My name is Josh Lannin, and I'm helping Workday teams make the transition to AI-infused applications. We are witnessing a generational transformation with the advent of AI and large language models. Like the shift to cloud computing and mobile technology, generative AI is poised to revolutionize industries. At Workday, we see huge opportunities for large language models to both reduce the time needed to accomplish routine tasks and elevate our ability to do the most thoughtful, challenging parts of our jobs. Today, I'd like to share with you key techniques for building great generative AI-infused products and experiences so you can put Gen AI to work today for your enterprise. Let's start by considering how this technology transformation mirrors past ones for enterprises. Cloud computing led to the development of Amazon Web Services, as well as groundbreaking business applications like Workday and Salesforce. Similarly, mobile technology revolutionized where people could get their work done. It's hard to imagine turning back the clock to the days of on-premise software, where updates required physical installations, or not looking at your phone to check your email. Companies that led these waves of transformations did two things extremely well. They invested in addressing customer needs and in building a solid foundation, including tooling, to unlock their team's ability to get the most from these technologies. The generative AI wave will follow the same transformative pattern, given the incredible ability for large language models, or LLMs, to generate content to perform a wide array of complex tasks at incredible speed. We already see Gen AI capabilities showing up in the everyday products we use at home and at work. For example, summarized product reviews save us time in our buying experiences, and automated meeting transcriptions help us catch up on missed calls and identify action items quickly. While generative AI is capable of producing amazing results like this, one quickly learns there are multiple challenges successfully integrating their capabilities into products. 5 of these challenges are confabulation. LLMs can generate text that is factually incorrect or nonsensical, despite being grammatically accurate and sometimes plausible sounding. Sometimes referred to as hallucinations, their existence can lead to a lack of trust and poor outcomes when they occur. Imagine you ask a generative AI model, who was the first president of the United States? However, due to confabulation, the AI responds, the first president of the United States was Benjamin Franklin. We know this isn't right, but it sounds plausible because Franklin was a prominent historical figure from that time. In the enterprise, getting facts and figures wrong can have major negative implications to the business. Latency, or the delay between the time a user invokes Gen AI and the time the model generates and delivers a response, can be lengthy and inconsistent. Delay can be influenced by computational needs and the complexity of the task, the end result being frustrated users. Latency is like waiting for your coffee at a crowded cafe. The delay can make you feel frustrated, especially before you've had your caffeine. Bias, the presence of systematic and unfair prejudices in what a model outputs. Bias in LLMs can manifest in various ways, including stereotypes, unfair representations, or preferential treatment for certain groups. Gen AI has the potential to rank data related to people on the basis of race or gender, resulting in inadvertent discrimination by people who use those results. Indeterminism is the unpredictability in the outputs generated by these models, even when given the same input. If I ask an LLM, describe the taste of pizza, it might say, pizza tastes cheesy and savory one time, and pizza is flavorful and delicious the next. Indeterminism in Gen AI is like asking a talented chef to make a dish based on the same recipe multiple times. Even though the chef follows the same recipe, each dish will have subtle differences in flavor and presentation. Just as you can't predict exactly how each dish will turn out, you can't predict exactly what response an LLM will generate. This indeterminism is a core characteristic of how Gen AI models operate, adding complexity to their use and testing. Quality variations. The effectiveness and appropriateness of the outputs generated by these models varies greatly. High-quality LLM outputs are characterized by accuracy, relevance, coherence, and utility. Simply put, the quality of results can vary greatly depending on the models being used and the inputs provided. So how can we effectively address these challenges and make sure the great ideas we have for generative AI in our products are feasible in the first place? It starts with educating people on new skills and providing them with the tools and resources designed for these problems. Organizations such as Workday are investing in our people to develop their AI skills. In my opinion, the most essential skill for anyone involved in generative AI is to learn prompt authoring, sometimes called prompt engineering. Prompt authoring involves crafting inputs that elicit the most relevant and accurate responses from LLMs. Let's take a simple enterprise example, writing a job description. A basic prompt would be, write a job description for a software engineer. A more advanced one might read, write a detailed job description for a senior software engineer, including responsibilities and qualifications. And a yet more sophisticated one would say, write a comprehensive job description for a senior software engineer at a tech company that values teamwork. Include detailed responsibilities and qualifications based on a list of skills I will provide. As you might imagine, based on the details and context provided, an LLM will return very different, and in this case, far better results. Authoring prompts is a critical skill set because of the quality of the prompt directly influences the quality of the output. Prompt authoring is the modern language of AI, unlocking the possibilities of intelligent responses through precise and contextually aware use of language. Effective prompt authoring requires understanding a model's capabilities. Prompts yield different results with different LLMs. In fact, prompt authoring is essential not only to getting the greatest value from generative AI, it's also the most common means to address the 5 challenges I mentioned earlier. How do you get started with prompt authoring? You need tooling. When you think of companies that revolutionized the shift to the cloud, GitHub stands out. GitHub provides a platform for hosting and sharing code and facilitating developer collaboration. Their tooling helped transform how people went about doing version control in the industry. Similarly, we're seeing a rise of tooling to support prompt authoring and experimentation. Oftentimes, this starts for many individuals by using ChatGPT and Google Gemini, but in an enterprise context quickly progresses to needing something more sophisticated. Enterprises need tooling for prompt authoring which supports the full lifecycle of product development, from prototypes to release software. At Workday, we've created an internal tool for our workmates called Gen AI Studio that prompt authors use to quickly try out prompts with real-time co-editing and sharing. Workmates can author a prompt and run it against multiple LLMs from different providers, comparing the results. They can experiment with providing different variations of customer data to the prompts. For example, different job titles when writing a job description. This allows us to ground the results so they are tailored to each customer and augmented with Workday's proprietary knowledge. Users can compare the results of running a prompt multiple times, evaluate the results for confabulation and bias, evaluate the quality of the results, and assess the latency of the responses. After a prompt has been refined, it can then be used as an API and integrated into the Workday product experience. In short, tools like Gen AI Studio that facilitate systematic experimentation with prompts are invaluable, and I encourage organizations to create or adopt similar tooling from companies such as FreePlay AI, Galileo, and others. This tooling enables teams to be able to create a culture of experimentation with Gen AI. What we have found is that once you have people enabled with the right knowledge and tools to leverage generative AI, you are capable of trying out many ideas. Which brings me back to something I mentioned earlier. Just because you can add Gen AI capability to a product doesn't mean it provides real value. There's a danger you can spend time creating compelling demos, but miss the boat on what people will actually value having. Put another way, is Gen AI simply a solution in search of a problem? Well, many transformative innovations have begun with technological breakthroughs, and it's right to consider LLM breakthroughs as technology-driven. However, the success of the resulting product innovations depends on finding a market fit. Take the story of Stephanie Kowalik, a material researcher who in 1965 stumbled upon a breakthrough molecule chain with unique properties. Her discovery of Kevlar, exceptionally strong yet thin, led to the creation of over 200 applications, such as spacesuits and fiber optic cables, as teams learned to leverage its unique properties to meet real-world needs. Similarly, realizing the potential of generative AI technology requires experimentation and learning its best applications. But how do we do this well? It starts with adopting approaches and processes tailored for the challenges of AI. Design thinking is crucial. Engaging with customers to deeply understand their needs and pain points is vital. Collaboration across disciplines, engineering, product management, and UX design is essential. This involves iterative prototyping and constant user feedback to ensure the technology is both desirable and feasible. As Linus Pauling famously said, to have a good idea, first have a lot of ideas. Here at Workday, we are taking an intentional approach to incubating Gen AI ideas, which starts with experimentation. We leverage hackathons in which entire organizations of engineers, product managers, and designers rapidly create demos of Gen AI and share their results. We then take the best ideas and invest in them to put the concepts into the hands of customers so that we can study through research how well they perform and what outcomes they create. From there, we can shape those great ideas into something deeply valuable, or discover what looked good as a demo isn't a great fit and refocus on something else. The whole idea with incubation is to iterate quickly and cheaply as possible, with more iterations resulting in a better product. Prototypes can kill a bad idea quickly and inexpensively, and incubating successful prototypes into capabilities customers can try out for themselves helps differentiate between superficial demos and software with actual value. One best practice we have put into place is a lightweight approach to capture each proposed Gen AI use case in a single-page summary that captures the essence of what it provides. Teams answer questions such as, what is the opportunity for the use case, and who is impacted by the problem it solves for? What are the expected business benefits, and what is the overall value proposition? How will you measure success? What data do you need to enable that use case? What is the estimated level of effort and time frame required to realize the use case? With this in hand, we can greenlight use cases and craft an overall portfolio view of our Gen AI investments, which captures which areas of our product portfolio are benefiting and what category of Gen AI capabilities we are leveraging. This allows us to make rational investment decisions, better inform internal field and marketing teams, and ultimately provide better transparency about our plans to customers. In summary, we are at the brink of a revolutionary transformation with generative AI, much like the shifts brought about by cloud computing and mobile technology. At Workday, we see vast potential for these models to streamline routine tasks and enhance our problem-solving capabilities. However, the integration of generative AI comes with its own set of challenges, such as confabulation, latency, bias, indeterminism, and quality variations. Addressing these requires educating our teams and equipping them with the right tools and resources. Your organization needs to learn the skills of prompt authoring to craft effective inputs to elicit relevant responses from LLMs. To do this, they need the right tooling to experiment with and test prompts, ensuring high-quality outputs. To arrive at valuable capabilities you can deliver now, encourage a culture of experimentation and design thinking. Enable participation in hackathons and collaborative projects within your teams. Rapid prototyping and iteration will help uncover valuable applications of generative AI with customers, allowing you to differentiate between superficial demos and truly impactful solutions. By focusing on these actions, we can ensure that generative AI not only fits seamlessly into our products, but also provides real and lasting value.